You're listening to the Ag Tech Talk podcast by AgriBusiness Global. Each episode, we speak with industry experts exploring the intersection of cutting-edge technology and crop protection, getting intel on the fast-changing ag input market. Welcome to the Ag Tech Talk podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Katsaris, Managing Editor for AgriBusiness Global. Today, we'll be speaking to Tom Meade, Chief Science Officer of Enko, as we explore the future of crop protection. How have recent regulatory changes impacted the development of crop protection products in the last 10 years, and what challenges or opportunities have risen as a result?
There have been changes, and those changes have really sort of focused around of the two areas we think about safety to people, which of course is paramount, but also safety to the environment. And I would say that environmental safety has become a bigger concern. And so the requirements on both fronts have become more stringent, and companies have invested more to meet those requirements. We think that's a tremendous opportunity to really take a different approach to discovering new crop protection chemistries, which is what we've done, which is one that is much more focused and intentional with safety built in at the very beginning. So if you look at some of the more recent numbers, the investment that the major players in crop protection are making in regulatory type of science and assessments has increased. And not only has it's increased because they're doing a lot of the studies earlier to de-risk molecules. There are lots of other factors that go into moving molecules effectively through a pipeline. They have to be efficacious. They have to deliver the value, the need that the ultimate, the consumer, the farmer needs. And so bringing those costs up earlier has a consequence. Taking again a much more focused approach like we do really sort of lowers those costs while still increasing the probability of success later in the process.
And can you discuss what you are seeing as far as the development of biological crop protection and biostimulants? And do you see any advances in biological herbicides?
Take the second one. There is work going on in biological herbicides. Certainly not anything that we're aware of or see that have really reached that breakthrough. The sector is growing. Big companies are making investments in biologicals. They certainly, my view, and I think in our view, they have a place in an integrated approach. I think it's important that everyone understands when we're talking about producing a crop and protecting plants from the pests that will rob them of the yield. It needs to be an integrated approach. And that integrated approach can include biologicals, and it can include small molecule chemistry. Obviously, genetics are a part of that. So we see that they're here. We're going to stay, but it's also important to recognize there are some pretty significant limitations to biologicals, and those can really be addressed with some of the other modalities.
How do you see consumer and environmental pressures influencing the development and adoption of sustainable crop protection solutions?
Well, consumers are clearly interested in having sustainable solutions, as we all should be. And environmental concerns are also critical. Yes, they definitely shape the path that we need to take to develop products and the types of products that we develop. But again, we also need highly effective products to be able to produce the food and fiber that we need as societies.
How common is it for companies to develop products with the idea of using ag tech with them, such as drone formulation?
It's increasingly important. I would say, yes, drones definitely. And I think the drones they're having an impact. I think as we get into more autonomous drones, that's going to have an even bigger impact. And formulating, so that you can actually sort of match the payload requirements of the delivery vehicle. See and Spray is another big technology. And we've heard a lot about, See and Spray for many years, but it's getting to the point where you can actually see the concept and beyond just the concept or proof of concept into practice. And so that is also going to impact how we think about and how everyone thinks about the active ingredients that we're discovering and developing.
What are some of the key trends and innovations in the crop protection products that you believe will shape its future over the next decade, such as nanotechnology?
I think formulations are critical, and formulations are really important. So once we've got an active ingredient, then how do we get that active ingredient to the target pest is critical. And that can be, reducing drift so that the product stays where it's placed, or actually increasing the effectiveness of the product. The technologies. I'll say the one that's probably oversaid and overhyped, but it's not hype, and that is the application of AI, the application of artificial intelligence, from remote sensing to some of the other applications we talked about, drones, the See and Spray types of technologies, all the way back upstream to, we're an AI company. And so we apply artificial intelligence to, more rapidly get to those highly effective and safe molecules. It's having an impact just very broadly. So it's not necessarily integrated into the technology, but how we get there, the impact of AI is huge.
How are companies in the crop protection sector addressing the challenges posed by climate change and its impact on pest and disease management?
One of the things we know is that if we apply a selection pressure to a pest population, that population will respond. And it's not just with crop protection chemistries. There's lots and lots of examples of other selective pressures, and pest populations are responding. So part of this is, we wait and see, but, so being able to characterize the products and being able to look at them in different environments, but being able to respond quickly is probably where the industry is not quite, as an industry, there yet. And back to, the time and money it takes to discover and develop. And we talked earlier about the regulatory pressures and registration. I think what we're going to see is that we're going to have really rapidly emerging problems as climate change impacts different geographies. We see pest ranges expand. We see pests in places we haven't seen them before. We're going to be growing crops in places we haven't grown them before. And so being very flexible and being able to rapidly bring new solutions to the marketplace, there will be a big premium on that.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you for listening to the Ag Tech Talk podcast by AgriBusiness Global. To find more podcasts, videos, event and webinar information, and the latest ag news, visit agribusinessglobal.com.